Normal, ça passe une vignette. Et bonjour, bienvenue. Bienvenue à mon tuto machine à écrire.
We don't know. Yeah, it's a friend of. I don't know because it's not easy. I don't know if it's easy or not.
There's something that is... There's something distorting. I'm on your way. Wait. Let me get the fuck out of here. Don't worry. I just moved myself, but I'm plugged.
Mais j'arrive pas à faire l'écran, c'est chaud. Mais non, ça peut s'arrêter. Ouais.
Moniteur à l'échelle.
Non, c'est tu retiens ça. Mais tu voulais faire autrement? Bah bon, ça, tu vas bien alors. Ouais, mais là, c'est parce que... je suis d'accord. Si je le remets. Je le remets en copie ici, ça sera plus simple à tout le monde. Ok. C'est bon. On te dira first image, please. Ok. On fait la première image et après, c'est toi qui on est trop lent, ou c'est pas intéressant. Voilà. Ça va bien se passer, je pense. C'est un petit peu risqué. Donc il est censé avoir 17 images. 17 images. Alors, on est censé parler, tu vois, je sais pas, max. Ça veut dire qu'on parle maximum 3 minutes par image.
Ok, 3 minutes, ok. Donc, ouais. Admettons, ça commence à 21h15, 3 minutes par image, quoi.
Il y a une intro, il n'y a pas d'intro.
Est-ce que pendant que c'est ça... Et non, mais parce que là, après, il y a la première image où c'est vous deux.
Ouais.
Ça, je la mets quand?
Par contre,
ok, first image please, et comme ça fait un peu un rire de foule, quoi.
Ouais, bah, c'est lui qui va lancer, là. Oui. Ouais.
Toi, t'as un micro, toi? Et ça, c'est pas un micro? Allô? Allô?
C'est un micro, mais qui est là-bas.
Ah, ok.
On reste debout, on s'assoit, qu'est-ce que tu veux faire?
Bon, debout.
On reste debout.
Allô. Du coup, en fait, on a besoin que d'un seul micro.
Tu passes le micro?
Ouais. Ouais.
3 minutes.
En gros, ouais.
Ouais.
Tu nous fais des signes, quoi, tu vois.
Attendez, je fais un timer.
À mon avis, tu nous fais signe à 2 minutes 30.
Ok.
Tu vois, si on dépasse 2 minutes 30, tu nous fais signe. Tu es autoritaire, tu fais des signes. Okay. Même 2 minutes, je pense que c'est Olivier. T'as pris des notes?
Comment ça s'appelait ton bouquin déjà?
Ah, tu vois, il y a la...
Oui, c'est vrai.
Il y a peut-être des couvertures de plusieurs bouquins.
Ok.
Thank you, Ian, for a very nice presentation.
C'est quoi l'entraîne dégueulasse?
Next up, we have two hip designers. Who's also a hip designer, a musician in Berlin. And then the hippest of the hip, the German musicians, Jasolek. So first, with Maki and Benjamin. And Salome. So, a warm welcome to all the three.
We have one.
Yeah, but maybe it's good that you bring your two because this one doesn't have that much battery.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'd like to thank first of all Salome Dijou, who's going to be our referee tonight, and also Jonas Bornhorst, who helped us setting up this slideshow. So maybe first image. No, that's cool. So, Maki and I, we met approximately 12 years ago at a concert by Momus, the Scottish-born English musician, blogger, novelist, performer, critic, and he's most of the time now, Momus, he had like this kind of moment of fame in the 90s, and I think now most of the time he's like just bringing his laptop and he's playing his own song. It looks sometimes almost as if he were playing the song directly from YouTube and karaokeing himself. It's pretty weird experience, like to go and see him playing, and you have the feeling that you're just in this like I don't know, bedroom. So it's not the best, I'd say, audience experience to have the feeling that you look at somebody who's like doing something that he doesn't need an audience to make, and also maybe this kind of situation when somebody is also like doing this kind of, like there's the same text on the screen that what is speaking about. So, so Maki is Obeke, and I'm myself, more or less tonight.
So we are going to speak in English, which is a little bit strange because usually we speak to each other in French. And despite appearances, I am French. I was born in France. And I really would like to thank Ian to have shown me something that I have no idea about, despite my name being Suzuki.
So like I think one of the most like schizotopian experience for me, being in this like context in Bremen. So I came here with the school from Bordeaux, who's like doing this like stream machine, and we had the amazing like chance and pleasure to do a workshop with Samuel in Bordeaux a few months ago. So Samuel's workshop was like based on the notion of anti-travail, so anti-work, which seemed to some extent connected to this notion of schizotopia, this kind of idea of like giving you constraints that like are probably should maybe help you work, but probably the best this like constraint can make is that they're gonna push you in a direction contrary to the one you would take if you were really willing to work. So it also brings for me this kind of situation where, like for example, like speaking tonight is a bit difficult because I got that cold. And good thing is that they had honey at the bar tonight, but vegan food was pretty difficult for me to kind of like build up my like body form, shape. So I don't know. It's not an anti-lecture, but I'm not sure how far I can go in like reaching the standards of Samuel Nieholm.
Yeah, as we are French, we like to create revolutions, and so whatever happens, usually we're against it, which is pretty good because you know the worst thing you could do is to take someone as a target, and this person could be wrong, but being against this person altogether somehow is also wrong, isn't it? Noam Chomsky, for example, he did march in favor of a revisionist who, for him, was allowed to say whatever he wanted to say, and despite the fact that he himself was against the content of whatever this person was believing, and somehow I think it's our right. I mean, it's your right. It's the right of every single person that you can see on this image, including Beyoncé Knowles.
What's the name of this like TV series you liked a lot? Yeah, Nathan for You. Yeah, it looks like this Nathan for You episode. Well, Nathan. So it's like this kind of like character who looks like super professional and like who knows exactly how things should work in the world, and is supposed to help people succeeding in their work. So he's at some point advising a cartoonist who's working on a beach in Los Angeles, and he doesn't have any success. So Nathan advises the cartoonist that he should be more like, how you call that, more abrasive, more like bold in his drawing. And so he encourages the cartoonist to make the most like racist cartoon ever of people that would ask for a cartoon of themselves on the beach, or to make like stupid jokes about the fact that like their women are cheating on them, or indeed like most of the time it goes in the direction of like drawing people naked with very, very small penis with a picture of a bird next to them saying that, oh, I can't even see what's going on over there. So yeah, I could figure you as a good Nathan. actually, because I do remember once, like a good friend of ours, an artist, asked you to make like a publication for a movie, like a small book, and what you did looked a bit like a, I don't know, high school zine. And I think that the artist, our friend, was pretty pissed off because he thought that the movie was pretty good. But indeed, it was good. It was a good advice that you gave him to go in the direction of like high school aesthetics, I think, adolescent work.
Olivier Lebrun, who's present here, he gave a talk on the 30th of November 2008 here in Bremen. I know this because when I went to get coffee, I saw a poster which was still there. But since there was no date for the year, he could come back on the 30th of November. And somehow, when we had a preparatory meeting in Lausanne 6 months ago with Samuel and Olivier and Serena, we sort of realized that Serena looked a little bit like Natalie Portman, and that Olivier looked a little bit like, actually not this guy, but Mulhouse. Oh, this is Mulhouse, but...
the father of Mulhouse.
He's the father of Mulhouse. And that's not just an innocent remark about, you know, looking like someone. It's also relating to the fact that Olivier Lebrun, being a graphic designer, has made a book about all the books that are referred to in The Simpsons, which is an American TV series which is going on since the 90s. And it's ranked pretty high in terms of the quality, and usually is number 1, number 2, or number 3, according to different sources, in terms of the best cartoons of all time.
Excuse me, I have a plug off my microphone. So this is a tradition of like French graffiti, which most of the time has like this kind of, as you were mentioning regarding like demonstration, in France we have like this oppositional attitude regarding institution. While at the same time, France is well known for being this kind of like a centralized country with like this kind of like really vertical power. So when it comes to like taking the streets, to some extent, as you were saying, with this kind of notion of revolution, there's kind of like supposedly kind of exemplary tradition in France, and at the same time, when it comes to this kind of thing, you don't understand why people would go in the direction of being like so literal. So this is, frac doesn't mean like fuck, it means like Fonds Régional d'Art Contemporain, and it's written on the Fonds Régional d'Art Contemporain, it's written twice. Because if it was written fric frac, it would mean burglary. So frac frac makes it clear that it's all about art. You know, it's like a Matisse. This is a frac. This is not a frac. This is a frac. And I think Maki, who's like from Aboké, he's doing something really beautiful in terms of like also this kind of love and hate of institution in France this year, because he agreed to work with the frac-frac of the Grand Large, which is the frac-frac of this new region of the north of France. And he agreed to make a program of exhibition during 1 year for €0. So if you two, you run a space and you don't have money, he's up to do it. Now the battle is here for the moment.
Right. Olivier Lebrun again on the left. For those who can't read it, I'll read it. I feel torn between the desire to create and the desire to destroy, which relates directly to Benjamin Torel's career I know he doesn't really like this, this word, but when I knew him, he was part of a collective called Castillo Corrales. And I keep on referring to Castillo Corrales, even though this collective has disappeared. There has been some internal problems, and also some people became more successful than him, and decided that being in a collective would be just counterproductive. Later, they opened a gallery, which was also a bookshop. So they were selling other people's work, and they decided to destroy this by creating another publishing company so that they could be more involved in the content of the books that they were selling, called Section 7, which is something that I still refer to when I talk to him, although that also got destroyed, and now he has started another collective by himself, I think, or maybe with someone else, called After 8. The question being, what happens if you start with Section 7 and you continue with After 8? What could be the next venture?
Should I reply? Should I reply? Ah, no, I can't. So I have the answer to your question. So like the real question would be like up to 10. I'm not sure what's happening with 10 yet. Or maybe you already know, because so we should check about 11. Another comics that I think that is important for like the history of this kind of representation of feelings and destruction is the French comic Zigépus. Zigépus are two young people. It's like pre-Tintin. It's a bit of this kind of like pre-Ligne Claire. The cartoonist was called Alex Saint-Augan. So there are two characters, a fat one and a thin, tall one. It's kind of like a couple characteristic of the early 20th century. And so they have adventures all around the world. But what's really great is that they have with them their friend, their pet, is a penguin called Alfred. And whenever they're able to beat one of their opponents or enemies, the penguin leaves saying, Alfred is saying you hello, t'as le bonjour d'Alfred, which becomes a good expression in France. So the peculiar thing is that there's nothing in this like cartoon with England, though it would have been pretty good to have like stories between like France and England, because everybody knows that even before Brexit, French people and English people don't like that much each other. You know, French people called French exit English exit, for instance, and French people called French condoms English condoms, for instance. But French people said Alfred, they don't say Alfred, which is really like something you should have checked before you go in the production of this kind of like plate.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the characteristics of Benjamin's work as a writer and as a critic, and I really admire him for this, is his ability and skills in using derision, yet it's informed by actual true realities, as he has read many books. You may recognize some of the names from the left, and I would agree that looking at this list, I don't know if you noticed that in the lift there is a poster which has been defaced of the Schizotopia event, and it says 21 male speakers and 2 women. I think it also is, I mean, this discrepancy is represented here. So this is a very good example of what we shouldn't do.
So okay, well, I didn't know you were doing this kind of thing. So as you noticed when there was this really good talk about Wesley Willis earlier this afternoon, there was a moment during the Q&A after the talk when the discussion went into was talking about the connection between the work of the late Wesley Willis and the art market galleries, which is something that it's always graphic designers always think about money all the time. They think about value, money. There was this famous poster from the Architectural Association in the 70s when there was this late 60s, 70s when there was this kind of students' revolt over there. They had made this poster saying, if crime doesn't pay, if crime didn't pay, where did you think architects were getting their money from? And I think that could apply from a graphic designer today, and this is a good example of it. Maki has been pretty good with Obeker over the past years to organize this kind of circuit of value, to give more value to items that he can get in the possession of. So for a long time, he was smuggling books out of libraries, rare books that nobody can find copies anymore, and have them signed by people so that they would be more expensive to sell on eBay. And now what he's doing is that he has this kind of collection of CD, which is not super interesting for the sound is bad, it doesn't last very long. But now what he's doing is that he's imitates the signatures of the artist so that he can maybe sell them on Discogs. So, well.
Now, enough about us. In a discussion about giving this talk, Benjamin was criticizing the fact that the Schizotopia topic was very interesting, but looking at the schedule, he couldn't really see where the Schizotopia was. Therefore, he, and as his own responsibility, mentioned this book, Dahlgren, 600 pages, science fiction book, that contains pretty much everything that this series of talks should have perhaps been talking about. And the coincidence is that it's by someone named Samuel. Right?
I remember that moment. And if Samuel would have been there, we would have a funny line, probably for a good cartoon. For example, what the fuck? And we would have a different vision of this drawing. But maybe if you want, I can read you a few pages from Dahlgren, because it's a pretty beautiful text. So this is the beginning of a chapter called "The Runes of Morning." Here I am, and am no I. This circle in all, this changing in winterless, a dawn circle with an image of, an autumn change with a change of mist. Mistake two pictures, one and another. No, only in seasons of short light, only on dead afternoons. I will not be sick again. I will not. You are here. He retreated down the halls of memory, seething. Found with final and banal comfort, mother? Remember the first time he realized she was 2 inches taller than his father and that some people thought it unusual. Hair braided, mother was tolerant severity, was easier to play with than his father, was trips to Albany, was laughter, was dead. When they went for walks through the park, was dark as old wood. More often, she was admonitions not to wander away in the city, not to wander away in the trees.
Actually, this is the poster for the film Born in Flames by Lizzie Borden. And perhaps what I should talk about is the fact that this movie has been translated into a book which you can find in Benjamin's bookshop in Paris. And in
the one in Berlin.
The one in Berlin.
It's sold out in Paris.
It's sold out in Paris. So perhaps it's just one example of the publication. But what I wanted to say and finish, I didn't get to finish what I wanted to say about the ability of derision that Benjamin is always able to put into his writings. And I'm very envious of how he can write reviews of the books which he usually sells in the way that it's both serious, but it also makes fun of what he's selling. So the self-derision, which I guess the people who know him are familiar with, is something that is quite unique, I guess, because when you have books like this or movies like this which are not without humor, but dealing with rather serious issues, I think you need to be pretty good to have this, how do you say, it's like a paratextual, self-derisional writing, if you follow my drift.
One of the projects we did together with Mackie that included sometimes modules happen in Toronto, in Canada, Toronto. And it was this kind of situation that involved some people we knew, some people we didn't know. So it was this kind of a spy mission. But that was happening in a bookstore. So it was not as super thrilling to some extent. But that was called What's More to Life Than Books. That probably came from a song by the Smiths. And so we spent a few days in this bookstore, excuse me, this bookstore in Toronto called Art Metropole, which is kind of like legendary place that was started by General ID in the 70s, and that still exists as this important space for artists, for publishers, for writers, and graphic designers, of course. And so we were talking about books and also exchanging them, and Obeke came with this device that I discovered then, which it's like this, like Alfred, penguin, donkey. So it's not like Alfred. So the idea that we make this kind of we exchange books upon meeting. Like he comes with this all the books he can't sell with this imprint. Then De Leone, all the stacks of books he has at home, he brings them, hoping he can exchange them with other books. And this kind of collection of books that is made by the people gathered from this kind of short period of time at the same space is then used to make this kind of custom built shelf that becomes this kind of ghost of this collection of books that is an image of this kind of beautiful encounter between a small group of people during a short but intense period of time. This kind of situation that Samuel Delany, in another book of his, Not in Dahlgren, talking about contact. Most important way for people to be able to meet, which implies for Delany most of the time semi-public spaces, like for me bookstore is a good example. For Samuel Delany it would be more like porn theaters that allow people to meet with like very specific interest and to meet around this interest and have one of the more intense relation ever that can happen between two minds or between two worlds meeting. Thank you, Maki, for this beautiful project.
This is a place in Mexico. I guess when we're talking about Schizotopia, we're talking about places, and this is a place which is both geographically located somewhere, but it's, I mean, you couldn't really say that it's utopian because it's realized, and I actually can't remember the name of it, but you can Google it. What can I say? I think I always asked where the name Castillo Corrales was coming from, and I always had a vague answer. And you know, it always happens with names where you think you found something really clever, but once someone asks you and you're very happy to explain why you called that, and it's fun the first 4 times, and then the 5th time you don't want to say anymore. So thank you, Benjamin, for keeping this secret from me. So I still don't know what, I mean, I know what Castillo Corrales is. It's a match between 2 guys. But I still don't know after 12 years why they have chosen this. And in a way, it's the kind of relationship that we have sustained. And I hope that we're sharing this with you.
Is it the last picture? Yes. Is it because Maki doesn't know to count to 10? Or?
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have questions, yeah.
Other questions?
I think each one of you should ask a question to another.
Perspectives. Could you tell me in public why you guys have chosen the name Castillo Corrales when you started?
Okay, breaking news, I was not there. I was not there at the very beginning of Castillo Corrales. So I don't know why these guys choose that name. I don't. There's a story about this boxing game, which was like José Luis Castillo and Diego Corrales. There's a story with the fact that alliteration work well. There's a story about the fact that since there's not that many hairy-chested Mexican art dealers in Paris, like it would maybe make people think that they finally came in Paris. There was a story that a corral is like the place where you have the hen, the poultry, and the castle is the Castillo is like where you have the noble people, so it would be good to be in the slash in the middle. But actually, I have no clue. I don't know what happened. Maybe these people had like had a bad night. When the name of Perigua Press came, I was like furious. I thought it was a terrible name. But now I came with after height. I can't.
It's a good answer.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm asking you the same question, like why Ubeke?
Okay. So that goes back to the fact that we were very happy to explain 4 times. That was 18 years ago. The first 4 times we explained why we chose the name Obecker, we were really happy because we could see that it was quite clever. And the 5th time, we realized that it was only clever for us, and we were just looking for an audience who would just ask the.
No, you're right also about that.
Do you want to continue with more questions?
No, but maybe there are questions
Maybe there are
that.
questions. Or maybe there are
I mean,
answers.
it's pretty clear, but.
I have technical questions actually.
Yes.
If you can go back to the graffiti on this crack, or because really it's really interesting for the project. This for the first, I think it looks like the A looks like a bottom, but backside of a person, like the body from behind. It's really nice. It's really looks like an asshole. A like asshole. Is it A or was it this? All of those. It is something is very.
Asshole.
Yeah. But now, I'm really interested that you say that it was double like the artist that make like this. Which artist were you referring to?
Which artist was I referring to?
Yeah. No. You referred to the wrong artist. I think you mentioned the wrong artist. Now you have to concentrate. The very double. This is Cécile Paul Matisse.
Magritte.
Yeah, oui. Yeah. Cécile Paul Matisse. Cécile Paul Okay, this is the one. And then I was really interested because they can give you the chance to make an exhibition for no money, no euro budget. Huh? You have this possibility in France to make an exhibition for nothing. Was this place?
J'ai vendu la mèche.
Can you? The question is.
He wants to know if it's possible to make.
Is it possible to make an exhibition?
You told us, Benjamin. You told us that
that he's doing an exhibition for no money.
You did it.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
For nothing.
Yes.
Because I get in some Spanish artists challenge those with €6 budget exhibition to Stockholm. They say that they have €6 money in Spain to make exhibitions, and I took the challenge, and I invited other 6 artists to work for me for €1 each to make the exhibition together. So you can make people to work for €1, and I can also make people to work for nothing for me. So nothing is not a problem. You work for nothing?
No, that's different. I don't work for nothing, but I propose an exhibition for €0.
You did, and they didn't accept it.
We're doing it.
You did.
We are doing it.
That's cool.
Thank
I'm really
you.
interested.
Thank you.
It is yours.
But the decision is collective.
Okay, Maki, when's the last time you cut your hair?
Probably the same time when you shaved your beard.
I disappeared. The time I disappeared. No, it's not that.
Anyone in the back? Have a question? Samuel, do you want to ask a question? Front row? Second row? Thibaut, do you want to ask a question? Olivier, you were brought up a few times. Are you all scared? Rebecca, do you want to ask a question?
Une demi-heure.
Je t'ai pas lancé des pages.
Ouais, tu m'as trop balancé.
It's a good thing.
Je travaille pas beaucoup.
Je dis que c'est pas mal encore.
Last question, sorry. Are you okay with no questions? Or do you
Yeah, I
want-
don't know. It was quite nice before when the others they got questions.
I know, it's a bit
But,
sad.
Ah,
Ian, Make a noise if you think Benjamin. Wait. Okay. Make a noise.
Ouais, Salomé, ils ont référé.
If
She's
you
the
think-
one who knows who won.
Yeah, no, she's biased. She was your ex-student.
Yeah, but she's the fucking referee. Actually, they didn't battle. They didn't. It was not a battle, actually. It was not a battle. It's called a battle. It was not a battle, actually.
It was a battle.
Was it?
Was it a battle?
No,
C'est pas un battle.
wait. So Leonard doesn't want to vote, so the public has to vote.
I think the public voted.
It was a battle, but we were both on the same side.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. Next is yes, Giacomo, can we start with you?
We got no cables.
You got no
We
cable.
got the cables from the guy.
What do you need?
Cables to connect I get a beer.
All I want to see it's you. I'm sorry if I'm so blue. And I'm in need of someone. And I'm in need of someone. That's you and nothing else more. All I want to hold, all I want to know, all I want to see it's you. I'm sorry if I'm so blue. And I'm in need of someone. And I'm in need of someone. That's you and nothing else more.
So it's a series of very sad songs. I guess nobody is more a schizo than a lover, I would say. Thanks. So I'm not used much to play guitars, and I'm not used much to sing love song, but I would say it's a tribute to two good friends here. One is Samuel, one is Maki. I don't meet them too often, but I gonna sing all those love songs for them. So.
Try to guess my name. Tonight won't be the same. The sky is muddy and gray. No one will feel ashamed. You'll fade in, I'll fade out, and nothing gonna change. If they'll call my name, nothing gonna change. If they'll call my name. Try to guess my name. Call me Hattie, Jim or James. It's a secret, it's the same. Not much to be explained. You'll fade in, I'll fade out, and nothing gonna change. If you call my name, nothing gonna change. If you call my name.
It's too boring. Should I stop?
walk away, you go to Johnny, you go to Johnny.
That bastard.
Call me crook, call me bad penny. Everyone is a gift and I ain't got any. Street clothes, whiskey and horse. There's no one else well seen more. Mediocre in all but not in kissing. If I kiss you, baby, it's the end of a bliss. 'Cause your sweet lips will never say another thing better than this. The hug of a loser can be sweeter than a pie. You won't forget it till you're going to die. And if you want to have it, baby, well, you know where to get it. Mediocre in all but not in kissing. If I kiss you, baby, it's the end of this. 'Cause your sweet lips will never say another thing better than this. Face to face the human race face.
Some people have special
Oh.
with light in the wheels and everything. And then they can
So that's a song I wrote with Samuel. Lonely vegan on Tinder. A smartphone, where can I find her?
And I'm still alive, but nobody cries. Slept all morning, and now it's dark outside, but nobody cries. In wasting our youth, we are pros like Bruce Lee. Invest in our mind and fun and lewdness. Whatever we go, whatever we do. You and your lungs have just survived, but nobody cries. It's never time to give it up. It's time to retry. In wasting our youth, we are pros like Bruce Lee. Invest in our mind and time in lewdness. Whatever we go, whatever we do.
Dankeschön. Danke sehr. Danke sehr. Danke sehr. Danke sehr. Danke sehr.
know that the road leads straight to hell. Start where you finish, end up dead. Your brain still diminished,